So I wrote this tweet for World Refugee Day, and I assume that there may be some conflicting opinions about this, so please definitely leave me a comment below with your thoughts and observations, accolades and criticisms alike. But we're going to go and talk about this. So I say here, best not conflate illegal immigrant and refugee. Goes well with not conflating illegal immigrant and asylum seeker. And of course, not conflating immigrant with illegal immigrant. With that said, we should treat actual refugees with dignity and respect. So, about a year ago, past couple years, we've been dealing with the backlash, the pushback to the presidency of Donald John Trump in the United States of America. We are coming up on an election this year, the 2020 election, so you're seeing a bit more of a focused attack on the president through the coronavirus outbreak crisis that was just a national emergency announced by the president. Talk of closing borders, travel bans, and of course the Democratic left, they've gone ahead and called a lot of this xenophobic over time, racist, and so on and so forth. And that tends to be the line of attack for the past 4 or 5 years. And I remember because I was a Jill Stein voter and a Bernie Sanders voter back in 2016, I said a lot of things that were orange man bad. And over time I learned and discovered myself that I actually did like the president to a relatively large degree, to the point where I would call this a Trump positive channel. I think he's doing an okay, if not good, if not great job with the coronavirus, but your mileage may vary. We don't have a real comparison point because while analogies are easy to make, and I did vote for President Obama twice, and believe that he was a good president, we can't really go back to Ebola or H1N1 and talk about how he handled those versus how President Trump has handled coronavirus, because you could make some comparisons, but frankly analogies are bad because it's a different situation. Past does not determine the future. It's not set. It just informs the future in many ways, but it doesn't set the future. So, talk of borders. We've been talking about borders a lot again. And over the past few years, we've talked about the Mexican border, the Canadian border, and the border, through flight and through boat, through maritime and all these things. But people tend to advocate and say, we have refugees that want to get in, asylum seekers. Think of the children in cages. These are the kind of words and terms you hear past few years, and many of them have continued over time to maintain their place in the rhetoric of Democrats that are anti-Trump or want to see a Democrat elected president of the United States, like Joe Biden. So I say best not conflate illegal immigrant and refugee. Look, illegal immigrants are people that come here and don't honor the systems of our country, don't honor the law of our country. And instead, they might be desperate. I'm not saying these people are, they're desperate. And then again, a lot of them are human traffickers or drug traffickers. And a lot of them do rape women. Many women, a large number, 66%. I think we lowballed it at 33%, but it's around 60-something percent, 70%. 2 out of 3 of all women that cross the border illegally are raped along the way. That's a great cost for this thing that's illegal in the first place, which is illegal migration. We have laws, we have ports of entry, we have all this stuff in place in the United States to make sure that we have sovereignty, that we have a country where people can feel safe and citizenry means something. So people say refugee, and refugee is a specific term. You can certainly go on to Google or DuckDuckGo or Wikipedia or perhaps a more credible place online and find out exactly what a refugee is. But it's somebody that is escaping a troubled situation in their country. It's not economic migration that you're allowed to just illegally go wherever you want because your country is not doing well economically. Usually it requires a disaster of some kind, an event to take place. So people conflate refugee with illegal immigrant. We were getting 100,000, 120,000 people crossing the Mexico-American border about a year ago, around March to June 2019, and around the time of this tweet. And once measures were put in place to slow that, the Mexican government, the military, started to help out a bit with getting things done and holding people accountable and not allowing them to cross the border. The numbers dropped dramatically. But, we have to take care, we want to take care of refugees. We don't have to, we want to. But illegal immigrants are not refugees. So we also don't want to conflate illegal immigrant and asylum seeker, because there are conditions for asylum. You don't just get to come here 100,000 people at a time from other countries and get asylum. It's just not how it works. It's hard love. Like, I don't have any problem with the people themselves. It's about the law. It's about law and order. It's why our country is so great, And you can, of course, argue in the comments below. Is America great? Yes or no? Drop me a comment below with your thoughts on that. But yeah, illegal immigrant and asylum seeker are not the same thing. And of course, we don't want to conflate immigrant with illegal immigrant. And I think that people, I consider myself to be an independent. I used to be more on the left, and now I'm more right-leaning in terms of a lot of the people I dialogue with. We tend to agree with that capitalism good, and in many ways, nationalism good. We love our country. We love individuality. There's a strain of libertarianism that runs through. We love free speech. We love the Second Amendment. But I do continue to hold a lot of views that would be more identified in the false dichotomy, the binary world of left and right. I do hold a lot on the left to this day. For example, I consider myself to be pro-choice. So there's a lot of things out there. But I see, one of the problems that I'm seeing, it bugs me to no end, because the idea that either side of politics, right or left, has the monopoly on science. So you have people on the left, well, we're the smart ones, we're the academics, and I know that a lot of the academics spout the modern religion of social justice, and of course institutions are a modern religion. We can place reason aside and take faith in with academia, media, and state, and certainly follow the money right into believing bullshit because some expert, somebody that has credentials. I'm not big on credentialism. On this channel, we don't really preach credentialism. But someone has credentials, therefore they're right. I think the left is much more likely to do that at this junction. I'm not sure if it's a product of Marxism or collectivism, but it's something. But I see them doing themselves and everyone else a disservice by calling immigrant and illegal immigrant the same thing. Someone that comes here legally, that respects the rules and the laws of the United States of America, they respect the Constitution, they have a higher moral standing than somebody that just comes here and wants free stuff, wants entitlements, however you want to frame it. Somebody that comes here and doesn't respect our code, our laws. Doesn't matter what circumstances they're in, they're on a lower moral standing in terms of the United States. We can talk all day. We can agree and disagree and agree to disagree on the nature of how humanitarian, how humanist it is to let everybody in. Because in a perfect world, I would let everybody in. Oh, yeah. If resources didn't have scarcity, if it was just an infinite pile of resources, I would be a bad person. And you would be too. You would be a bad person for not letting people in. If there were no other factors, if there wasn't violence, there's a lot of violent crime, if there weren't drugs being trafficked, humans being trafficked, women and children being trafficked in, it would be great to let everybody in, but we have to screen. We want to have a premium country. We don't want to have a country where anything goes, because that's where you get this thing called, well, chaos. It's not law and order. It's chaos and entropy. But they would say, because they want to fight what they consider to be, apparently, this is how, I'm not projecting or mind reading, but this is how they present it. With their rhetoric, they present it as racist or xenophobic, because you don't want, for me, for example, I don't want people from Poland coming here illegally. That makes me a xenophobe. I'm a xenophobe, folks, because I don't want people coming to my country illegally. Okay? We have laws for a reason, and they're holding this thing together. It's not just this grab bag. So I do say, don't conflate legal and illegal immigrant, but make sure we are treating our fellow man, woman, trans, every human being with dignity and respect. That's the most important part. But we have to look at the situation for what it is. You can come here legally, and we need a better path towards citizenship. We need to work on this, but we are accepting all these people. We're giving out visas, we're giving out green cards, we're giving out all this different stuff. And so we're trying, and we need to have people come, but they have to come in legally. Like the president says, they have to come legally. They can't come here illegally. That can't be the standard. Otherwise, why have laws at all, right? So it's not meant to disrespect anybody, but we just have to maintain order.